Well, that was vintage Mihir Bose, and his book, From Midnight to Glorious Morning, will be published in September, and you'll find it on our website, and no doubt we'll be sending you some emails regarding that. Okay, we're now at the last presentation of the day. We've thought hard about India, we've worked hard thinking about the issues, so now I think it's time for a touch of glamour. LVMH is a world leader in luxury and the only group present in all 5 major segments of the luxury market, and it houses brands, very famous brands like Moet & Chandon, Krug, Veuve Clicquot, Glenmorangie, a glass of which I could do with right now, Louis Vuitton, Christian Dior, Tag Heuer, Bulgari, amongst many others. The reason that we thought it would be interesting to hear from LVMH this afternoon in the cultural exchange session is because the appreciation of luxury is actually very much linked to culture. So, for example, if you take India, the drinking and social culture has changed quite dramatically there over the last 15, 20 years. It used to be the case that spirits like rum were consumed and whiskey was consumed and beer, usually by men. But with rising and growing affluent middle class, you'll see that wine consumption has gone up, champagne consumption has gone up. And if you go to dinner parties in Delhi, the host or the hostess will make great efforts to make sure the wine matches the food they're serving. And often they aspire to have French wines on their table because they still believe that French wines are the best in the world. So it's with great pleasure that I'd like to invite Ian Hardie, who is the director of LVMH based in London, to share his thoughts on how culture influences the appreciation of luxury, and also what LVMH has learned in markets like China and Japan, and how it can be applied to the Indian market. So let's give a very warm welcome to Ian Hardie.
It says East meets West. I was brought up in the West Country of the UK, and one of the things that my father once taught me, it's a very simple rule in life, Ian. He said, do not walk so close behind the horse, it'll kick you. Don't follow a horse. I'm adding a new rule, never follow a professional broadcaster. Makes life very difficult. Thank you for that very warm welcome. I'm rarely introduced as glamorous, but I will talk a little bit about the company I work for, LVMH. Many people know our products, but not necessarily our company. I'm a British person based in London, working for a French company that has almost 80% of its revenues from outside of France. A very interesting mix for me to live a life in. I thought I'd talk about 4 or 5 things, a little bit about LVMH, hopefully more than an advert, but I just think it's helpful for you to get a bit of context. Something about the growth that we've been through in the last 10 years, a very small piece on our current activities in India, something about the lessons, and then I will try to say something about India and luxury, and I hope that might spark some debate. I'm not sure how many people know that much about LVMH as a group. It's family-led, although it's quoted on the French market, 40%, and the controlling interest is led by a family, Bernard Arnault. His family members, his son and his daughter, and 2 of his other sons work in the group, and it's very much a family business. And yet, it's a group which isn't singular in any way whatsoever. We have 70 houses, I'll tell you more about those in a moment, and they work very independently. And we are unique in the sense that we're the only group that represents across all of the different sectors. In terms of scale, it may surprise you to know we have 120,000 employees worldwide and about 3,700 stores. Now, our products are available at many more stores around the world, and I'd encourage you to go to those, but I'm talking about directly owned and managed stores for the group. And last year, our revenues were just in excess of 30 billion euros. So significant by any measure. What's interesting is this unique heritage. Many people stand up and talk about their companies and say, oh, it's fantastic, this company's been going for 50 years. This company has been going for 100 years. It's quite a weight to bear when you're responsible for the success of a company that's been going for in excess of 250 years. To think that you might be the person who drives that ship into the rocks is quite a responsibility. And we have a number of brands, of houses, which date back 200, 100 years across wines and spirits, fashion and perfumes and cosmetics, but also in watches and jewellery, in selective retailing, and also in a number of other very interesting activities as well. So a very complicated group and very active around the world. As I say, most of you will know the brands and the products, but not necessarily the company. We describe it as a very unique operating model. I used to work for London Business School here in the city, and I used to go and visit clients. So I was trying to encourage them to buy products from London Business School. And the most annoying thing was every time I visited Shell or Deloitte or one of these companies, they'd say, "Let me explain to you, Ian. We are very different." And of course, they're all exactly the same. But let me just explain to you why LVMH is very different. We talk about these 6 pillars. One is that we're extremely decentralized. So we have 70 different houses around the world, and they all operate as if they were independent companies, apart from some centralization, as you'll see in terms of synergies. You could imagine when LVMH goes to Vogue and wants to discuss the cost of advertising in Vogue, the fact that we represent Louis Vuitton, Fendi, Kenzo, Givenchy, Celine, gives us greater weight in those discussions. So whilst we have this decentralization, we have tremendous synergies as well. Most of our growth has been organic, and that comes from massive investments we make in the brands. Some of the brands are bigger and more successful, and they invest in their brothers and sisters in the family. And we are, in the main, vertically integrated where we can be. That's to say we control from production through distribution and to sale at the end. And there is a tremendous investment in sustaining what we call, as a French company, the savoir-faire, the skills. So there is a university set of courses to help people to understand how they make better gloves, how you do the fantastic design of jewellery, how you make amazing champagne. These are skills that must not be lost, and we invest in them. I can count, there is a 6th. The 6th is the fact that we balance our activities across the world. You can see this from our revenues. We make a point of making sure that we never get completely out of kilter. So about 1/3 of our revenues are coming from fashion, but equally 1/3 coming from selective retailing, significantly also from wines and spirits and the other activities as well. I did say at the beginning, it's a very international organization. In fact, over 80% of our revenues come from outside of the region. So France, although the majority of the production is in France and in Italy, because we stand for a Western perspective on luxury, we do own a number of other brands from outside France and Italy. This is where the revenues come from currently. In a moment or two, I'll explain how that's changed over time. For the purpose of this, geography is not our strength. As you can see, we talk about France and then we talk about Europe excluding France. For many, this is a dream. For us, it's just a practical way I shouldn't say that about my employers. For the purpose of this, India is included in the numbers for Asia. So those are the numbers to date. What's interesting is to look back over the 10 years. Well, I think it's interesting. Over 10 years, luxury, the industry that I work in, has seen tremendous growth, tremendous international growth. And it's more than doubled in that 10-year period. And tremendous growth, particularly in the last 5 years as well. These are the figures I just showed you in terms of where those revenues are coming from in 2014. What I've done is to map where those revenues come from 5 years ago. And you can see that, in a sense, there was a small amount of change in France. The US and Europe are relatively stable, but we start to see growth in Asia. And if you go back 10 years, you start to see where the balance has changed, where we see a balance and a difference. The big growth market for luxury outside of Europe for many years was Japan. And you can see over the 10-year period, that has changed. And here we see the rise of Asia, the fall to a certain extent of Japan. Though if you do the numbers, 7% in 2004 is almost exactly the same. 16% in 2004 is almost exactly the same as 7% in real numbers currently. So the revenues are the same, just as a relative percentage, they're less. France, the amount we sell in France has dropped, but you can see the big growth is in Asia, and of course China and the countries around that is a significant part of that. And that, of course, has started us on this journey of understanding what does it mean to be talking about luxury in a different cultural context. In terms of India, our operations are relatively small. We have just 8 of our houses operating in India, a staff of about 688, 700. We started in 2001 with our drinks business. Vuitton opened in 2003. And whilst most of our activities have been in Delhi and Mumbai, recently we opened in Bangalore. So a quick image of the Vuitton store in Bangalore, and about 20 stores. But possibly the one interesting, and Rakesh mentioned it, aspect of our activities is the winery that we relatively recently opened in India. You may not know the story of Moet, the family of Moet. So Jean-Claude Moet was the founder of Moet et Chandon, not the oldest champagne house in the world. Ruinart is the oldest champagne house in the world, which we also own. But this is the beginning of champagne. And there was an extremely foresighted gentleman in 1957 who sent his staff abroad. He said, find other places because we are running out of space here in the Champagne region. We can only make so much champagne. I need to look to the future. And you may not be aware, but Moet et Chandon then opened up sparkling wine. So it's not champagne because it's not made in Champagne, but sparkling wine production in Argentina and also on the west coast of America and also down in Australia. And it's recently, about a year or two ago, we opened in India. So we've opened and established a winery in India. Fascinating because the guy who was responsible for making the wine in India was transferred from our winery in Argentina. So he took a man who was trained in France, worked in Argentina, and now is establishing this winery. Why? Well, there is an opportunity. It is expensive to import and sell our champagnes in India. I think everyone is aware of that. We want to access the market. This gives us a tremendous opportunity to bring sparkling wine to a big market. It's interesting what you say, Rakesh, in terms of the way that the drinking and the consumption is changing. The prediction from my colleagues is that as a sparkling wine market, India will be bigger than China in the coming years and will stay bigger just because of the cultural fit. I encourage you, if you want to make the 193-kilometre trip from Mumbai, there is a beautiful visitor centre. Go and see where fantastic Chandon sparkling wine is made. It's fascinating for us to find ourselves not only selling into a country, but operating and being inside a country to make our products. And I wish we were. I'm not sure what we're drinking later, which is one of my other rules, never speak before drinks. But hopefully we'll be drinking Chandon. Rakesh asked me just to say a little bit about what have we learned from this growth we've seen in terms of the numbers from, in particular, Asia. One is you have to invest in the brand. It only takes 2 things. It's very easy. It just takes time and money. We're lucky. We're a French company, and so time we don't worry about too much. And we're family-owned, so we have lots of money. Luxury is a pyramid of products. That's to say, luxury can be a lipstick or a mascara, and it can be a diamond earring or a diamond ring. And so what we've discovered is you can build a market for luxury from the base of the pyramid, often with fragrance and beauty. At the same time, the lesson we've learned is that, yes, we have to promote and sell our image of Western luxury, but we also need a degree of relevance. There are some of our brands and products that do not work, in certain of the countries. Initially, we lead with our big brands. They bring awareness, they have a global vision, and of course, normally they've had some kind of regional growth already. And then as a group, we're able to follow in behind those. And wherever we can, direct investment, clearly a challenge in a market like India. It allows us to maintain our global standards. We get the correct inventory. There's not a pressure from franchise partners or business partners, joint venture partners, to hold a particular inventory. And of course, the assortments reflect the qualities of the brand. And finally, what's become increasingly obvious to us is that the brand is on show. We have very expensive real estate in China, enormous stores, which are very, very well known. And often the sale is not made in China, but is made in Paris. And so the same for India. It's important for us to be known, and then the sales occur outside the market. There are many lessons we've learned. Some I can talk about, some I can't. Those are the 6 there. I know we're short of time. I'll just quickly talk about Indian luxury market. In 1947, Cartier is not one of our brands. 34% of Cartier's revenue came from India. Amazing. I couldn't find out what percentage now, but it's nowhere near 30%. It's safe to say luxury, as it says here, is taking a little bit of time to take off. There are, for us, 3 or 4 key barriers why luxury has not taken off. Limited luxury retail space. Much of our image has been built in the luxury hotels, and the malls are not there from an infrastructure point of view. I'm sure we've heard about it. Regulation, duty and tax are issues when you're importing. If you have a product base which is based on a terroir, champagne, cognac, made in France, these are key issues. And for us, regulatory progress is slow and in some cases non-existent. We're still not able to invest in a multi-brand retail directly. And finally, for a country with a massive population, talent is a challenge. We just don't have access to the people who have the experiences that we need to manage and sell and retail luxury in the way that we think is correct. It'll come with time. If you're the head of training, you must believe that it's possible to build those skills. And the hope, of course, lies for us in the new generation of affluence, the young Indians, the changing breed of Indians, the new breed of entrepreneurs. And so for us, it's a small-ish market relative to the rest of the world, but one that is very interesting to us. Rakesh asked me just to talk very briefly, I suspect, at this point. China, India, surely it's the next, it's tomorrow. Well, there is an extent to which you could make a case that it starts to follow. So we opened our first store in New Delhi in 2003, not exactly immediately after you might call the economy opening up. And originally, the 2 key focus areas for us in China were Beijing and Shanghai. We now have, for many of our brands, a presence in 30, 40 cities in China. We started with perfumes and cosmetics. That built the awareness of our brands. We start to see global brands building their awareness in India as well. Wealth creation is occurring. It's becoming a richer and richer, more middle-class environment. I'm no expert, but my colleagues in India always tell me it's coming. It's coming. Tomorrow. What's interesting is that, well, you've discovered that in India, it's a market where supply creates the market and not demand. And this is particularly true for an organization like ours where, to be frank, we do not sell necessities. They're very important. Don't get me wrong, they're very important, but they're not necessities. And so we have a sense we can create the market. This is my colleague, Vispi, said 7 years ago, it was too early. 10 years from now, Ian, it'll be too late. There is a tremendous amount of hope. We spoke about sport and the Ashes, and as an Englishman, I live in hope. We have hope when it comes to India. One of the reasons I think that we can rely upon that is because, as a group, our business is built around a long-term vision, heritage, and an investment in key brands and key countries. And that's exactly what our boss, Bernard Arnault, believes in, and that's the approach we're taking to trying to develop our activities in India. That's the end of my presentation. I think we're going to do some questions. That's right.